Nestled among the mist-laced peaks of the Eastern Ghats, unreachable by road or map, stood Maunavratam, the Temple of Silence. Hidden by bamboo forests and guarded by time itself, it was a place untouched by men for centuries. Only women chosen by fate or broken by the world found their way to its steps, guided by whispers in dreams or the pull of something ancient and maternal. Inside the temple, silence reigned, not as a punishment but as a power. The women who lived within spoke not with tongues, but with breath, touch, and glance. They were known as the Mounikas, the silent ones. Each had once lived a life of noise, expectation, and bondage. Each had shed it, like skin, or like hair. Every full moon, the temple held the Shira Samarpana, a sacred rite where the women shaved their heads in full ritual, not as submission, but as declaration. The act was not merely symbolic, it was a sensual purging of ego, pain, memory, and identity. Tonight was different. It was the night of the tri-lunar bloom, a celestial convergence that occurred only once every 12 years. The air itself shimmered with tension, and at the center of this sacred night stood Devika, the newest seeker. Devika had arrived barefoot, her eyes hollow, her body veiled in grief. Once a classical dancer silenced by betrayal, she had wandered through forest and flame until the temple found her. Her hair, long, fragrant, and thick, was her last remaining veil. In it lived her mother's love, her past lover's praise, her audience's envy. In it, she was still the woman she had been. But now, that woman was ready to dissolve. The women gathered in silence beneath the moon-drenched courtyard. Their heads glistened like polished stone, catching the light of ghee lamps. They wore thin white robes soaked in camphor and rosewater. Drums began to throb, low and deep, like a heartbeat returning to the womb. Devika stepped forward, bathed in oil and incense, her robe translucent against her skin. She knelt before the Mounikas, the high priestess, bald and divine, whose body bore sacred inked mantras. The priestess slowly circled her, fingers moving through Devika's hair like a river over pebbles. The cutting began, not with violence, but with grace. A bronze scissor kissed the first lock, sending it spiraling into a silver bowl. Each snip was followed by a chant, low, vibrating sounds that resonated in the pelvis and spine. The rest of the hair was taken with a slow, gliding razor, dipped in sacred ash. Devika's head was turned, tilted, caressed. The razor glided in strokes that felt more intimate than any lover's touch, tracing her skull, mapping her rebirth. She wept, not in sorrow, but in awe. With every lock that fell, she felt her memories shiver and dissolve. Her laughter as a child, the kiss stolen under monsoon rain, the betrayal in a rehearsal room, all of it left her, curling at her feet like shadows. When the last strand was gone, the Mounikas anointed her scalp with sandal paste and turmeric. She kissed her forehead, silent approval. Now one with the sisterhood, Devika rose. Around her, the women began to dance. No music played, but the wind and the fire and the throb of the earth itself formed a symphony. Their bald heads glistened, their bodies moved as one pulse, one breath, one offering. That night, under the thrice-blessed moon, they became not women, but flame, devotion, and silence itself. In Maunavratam, beauty was not worn. It was revealed.